June 25th, 2009, changed everything. The king of pop was gone, and the world stood still in disbelief. Michael Jackson, the man who moonwalked into our hearts and revolutionized music forever, had taken his final breath. Millions mourned across every continent, their tears flowing for a legend who had touched souls with his voice and his moves. The memorial service at the Staples Center in Los Angeles became one of the most watched events in television history. Over 31 million Americans tuned in, while billions more watched from every corner of the globe. The golden casket gleamed under the lights as celebrities, family members, and heartbroken fans said their goodbyes. His daughter Paris stood at the microphone, her voice trembling as she called him the best father imaginable. That moment shattered hearts worldwide. But beneath the public spectacle and overwhelming grief, something strange was unfolding behind closed doors. The Jackson family had made unusual requests about the burial arrangements. Security around the casket was impossibly tight, far beyond what anyone expected for even the most famous celebrity funeral. Guards stood watch day and night. No one could get close without explicit permission from the family. Whispers began circulating among those present at the private viewing. Staff members exchanged nervous glances. Something was different about this burial, something that didn't quite add up. The funeral directors had been sworn to absolute secrecy, signing documents that threatened severe legal consequences if they spoke about what they'd witnessed. As the casket was sealed and prepared for burial at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California, those who knew the truth carried a burden that would haunt them for years. The world said goodbye to Michael Jackson, but they had no idea what really lay inside that golden coffin. What the public never knew was that Michael Jackson's casket contained far more than just his body. According to sources close to the family who later came forward, the king of pop was buried with an extraordinary collection of personal treasures that revealed the depths of his complex soul. Inside the plush interior, carefully arranged around him, were items that told the story of a man the world thought they knew but never truly understood. His famous white glove, the one that became his signature during the Billie Jean performance that changed entertainment forever, rested near his hand. But that was just the beginning. Photographs of his three beloved children surrounded him, their innocent faces watching over their father in eternal sleep. Michael had always said his kids were his greatest achievement, more precious than any award or record sale. Next to the photos lay a well-worn Bible, its pages marked and highlighted from years of reading. Despite the controversies that plagued his life, Michael's faith had remained a constant anchor. The Bible had traveled with him around the world, through every tour and every trial. But the most shocking items were yet more personal. There was a small teddy bear, rumored to be from his childhood at the Jackson family home in Gary, Indiana. This bear represented the innocence he felt had been stolen from him when he became a child star, forced to perform when other kids were playing. Letters from fans who had passed away were tucked beside him, people who had written to him about how his music had saved their lives during their darkest moments. He had kept every one of them, reading them repeatedly when the weight of fame became unbearable. The items painted a portrait of profound loneliness, of a man desperately seeking the simple human connections that his extraordinary life had made nearly impossible to achieve. Among the most controversial items placed in Michael Jackson's coffin were sealed envelopes containing documents that have sparked endless speculation and conspiracy theories. Family members who were present during the private preparation reportedly saw these mysterious papers being carefully positioned inside the casket. According to leaked accounts from funeral home employees who risked their careers to speak out, one envelope was addressed to his children, containing final words meant only for their eyes when they became adults. Another envelope, thicker and more official-looking, was rumored to contain evidence related to the various accusations and legal battles that had tormented Michael throughout his later years. Some believe he wanted this documentation buried with him, taking certain secrets to the grave rather than letting them cause more pain to his loved ones. Others suggest the documents contain the truth he always wanted the world to know but never got the chance to fully reveal. There were also handwritten notes, penned in Michael's own distinctive script. Those who glimpsed them described lyrics to unfinished songs, melodies that would never be heard, creative ideas that died with their creator. For an artist who had given the world Thriller, Bad, and Dangerous, these lost compositions represented dreams unfulfilled. But perhaps the most emotionally devastating item was a collection of drawings made by his children. Simple crayon pictures that said, "I love you, Daddy," and showed stick figures holding hands. Michael had apparently kept every artwork his kids had ever made for him, treasuring these innocent expressions of love more than his 11 Grammy Awards or his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The security around these contents was so extreme because the family knew that if the public discovered what lay inside that coffin, it would spark a media frenzy that would desecrate Michael's memory even further than the tabloids already had. What truly left those in the know absolutely stunned was the discovery of Michael Jackson's final message, written just days before his death. This handwritten letter, placed in a silver frame within the coffin, revealed a man who somehow sensed his time was running short. In the letter, Michael spoke directly to his fans, thanking them for decades of unwavering support through scandals, trials, and endless media persecution. He wrote about the unbearable pressure of being the most famous person on the planet, about how the world's expectations had crushed his spirit while simultaneously fueling his creative fire. He apologized for not being perfect, for the mistakes he'd made, and for the ways his desperate quest for the childhood he never had might have seemed strange to those who couldn't understand his unique pain. The letter also contained specific instructions about his legacy. Michael wanted his music to bring joy, not to be dissected by critics looking for hidden meanings or dark messages. He wanted his humanitarian work remembered as much as his entertainment achievements. He had quietly donated millions to children's hospitals, disaster relief funds, and medical research, but he rarely sought credit because his giving came from genuine compassion, not public relations strategy. Alongside the letter was his final will and testament copy, ensuring his children would be provided for and that his mother Catherine would have the support she needed. But there was also a more mystical element that shocked even his closest family members. Michael had included items related to his deep interest in spirituality and the afterlife. Small crystals that he believed held protective energy, a crust given to him by Elizabeth Taylor, and pages from books about Egyptian burial practices and the journey of the soul. These items revealed how much thought Michael had given to what might come after death, suggesting he'd been preparing for this transition in ways nobody around him had fully recognized. The revelation of what was buried with Michael Jackson transformed how many viewed his life and death. These personal items weren't just objects, but windows into the soul of a complicated, deeply sensitive man who had lived an impossible life. The teddy bear from childhood, the letters from dying fans, the drawings from his children, the unfinished songs, they all told the same story. Michael Jackson was far more than the controversy magnet celebrity the media had portrayed. He was a father who adored his kids, an artist who never stopped creating, a believer who held on to faith despite everything, and a humanitarian who genuinely cared about suffering in the world. When word of the coffin's contents eventually leaked through various sources over the following years, the public reaction was overwhelming. Fans who had always defended him felt validated in their loyalty. Critics who had been harsh began reconsidering their judgments. The items humanized a figure who had become almost mythological, reminding everyone that beneath the fame and the legend was simply a man who wanted love, understanding, and peace. Today, Michael Jackson's music continues to inspire new generations. His albums still sell millions of copies. His dance moves are still imitated by performers worldwide. But for those who know what rested with him in that golden casket, his true legacy is more profound than entertainment achievements. It's a reminder that fame and fortune cannot protect someone from loneliness, that talent and success don't guarantee happiness, and that even the king of pop was ultimately just a human being searching for connection in a world that often felt cold and judgmental. The contents of Michael Jackson's coffin remain officially unconfirmed by the family, who guard their privacy and his memory fiercely. But the stories persist, passed along by those who were there, who saw what no camera captured. And perhaps that's exactly how it should be, some final mysteries belonging only to Michael, his family, and the God he believed would welcome him home at last.